my type of analysis is pretty simple and straightforward. I'm only looking at the higher time frames. I'm not looking at news. I'm not looking at indicators. I'm not looking at fundamentals. I'm literally only looking at price action and market structure. In today's video, I want to break down exactly 4 trading setups for you. I want to share with you where you can specifically look for potential trading opportunities and why those are setups which can make you over 100% each going into 2024. Setup number 1, which I want to share with you, is on SBUX with ticker symbol SBUX. And situation is very simple and straightforward. As you can see, first of all, I do not have any indicators on the chart. I do not have any news on the chart, and I'm only having the chart, nothing with fundamental analysis. That's how I do my analysis. Pretty simple. You can furthermore see that I'm looking at the monthly time frame, so looking also at the higher time frames, because this gives you the best probabilities for your trading setups, and this also just makes you the most money in the long run. If you're looking at SBUX, the first thing which you will immediately notice is that we do have this major bullish trend line. Starting all the way back in 2012, we had the first touch point at this $23 area. From there, we already had a significant rejection towards the upside. Then we had some consolidation. 2018, we had the second retest barely missing this area. With the 2020 COVID crash, we had the third retest. And then you can see 2022, we had the fourth retest. And right now we are once again approaching this support level on SBUX. It's literally that simple. We are approaching a support area. So what you want to do, you want to look for longs. Of course, you also need confirmation on the smaller time frames. At least that's how I am doing it. Right now, we did not see proper confirmation yet, but if we get the confirmation, I'm looking for a bounce towards the upside. You can also see that you can maybe even draw a triangle formation like that. If we just draw it like this, you can see that this is a simple symmetrical triangle. We had a push into this triangle. Right now we are consolidating. And if we see a breakout, I'm targeting the previous all-time high. You can see also there we had resistance at this $120 area, but I'm expecting a break followed by a retest. And then, as you all know, it's literally that simple. Previous resistance, if we break it towards the upside, is turn support. Again, waiting for bullish confirmation and then even adding to the longs. All the trades which I take, of course, I share them live inside of the Elite program. Full transparency, we are not in a position on SBUX yet, because as I mentioned, there was not enough bullish confirmation on the smaller time frames. But as soon as we have the confirmation, we will simply enter a position. How can the setup make you 100%? Well, let's just say we break above the previous all-time high. Then you can see it's roughly 40%. And I'm always also playing those setups with options. I cannot share the full details. For those of you who are not interested in options, it's perfectly fine if you just buy the regular stock. But because I'm looking at the higher time frames and because I have such a high win rate, I can always go with options because they make significantly more money. Setup number 2 is on Amazon. Ticker symbol AMZN. And oh boy, this week we had earnings coming out. So far this month, Amazon is up another 10%, as you can see in the top left corner. And also on Amazon, we are approaching a massive resistance. You can see starting in September of 2020 all the way until December of 2021. So for more than 1 year, this $180 area was acting as resistance. We had so many rejections towards the downside. And then eventually with the 2022 bear market, we also had a significant rejection away from the resistance. You all know previous resistance is acting as resistance once again unless we break it towards the upside. So far, Amazon did not break this area clearly towards the upside, so there is a higher chance that we will see another rejection towards the downside. Will I go short at the resistance? Obviously not, because my trading strategy is mainly focusing on going long on stocks and indices, capitalizing on major moves. So what I'm waiting for on Amazon, it's also right here, pretty simple. I'm just looking at the next structure. you can see we do have the next structure at this $140 area. Why? Because this was turned support here. Then after we broke it towards the downside, it was turned resistance. It was then even turned short-term resistance a second time. And if we get a pullback, this is now turned support. Then inside of the elite program, it's the same thing over and over again. We're waiting for bullish confirmation on the smaller time frames. This always gives us a pretty clear understanding of whether we will see a reversal and then more continuation towards the upside. If we get the confirmation, we will enter longs with the stock, with options, and then just looking for a break above the previous all-time high. Third setup, and it's getting more and more interesting, is on AMD. What I'm looking for on AMD is also pretty simple. You can see no news, no fundamentals, no indicators. What you can see by just purely looking at the chart, we had this beautiful triangle breakout actually just 3 months ago. You can see also there, this was a symmetrical triangle, so it's almost a little bit looking like Starbucks with this symmetrical triangle. More often than not, triangles are simple continuation patterns. So if we enter bullish into the triangle, there is a higher chance that we will also see a breakout towards the upside. Furthermore, on AMD, you can also see that we had a beautiful retest of this previous structure, which was acting as support. We already had sufficient bullish confirmation on the smaller timeframes, but because I was already entering a position on a different semiconductor stock, I didn't want to enter AMD because then I was just too exposed to those semiconductors and technology stocks in total. But you can see over the past 4 months, we had a super solid break and breakout of 80%, breaking above the previous all-time high. And right now I'm also just looking at the previous structure, which you can see we had previous resistance at this $130 area. This is now, after we come back to retest it, of course, turned support. And then we are simply waiting for bullish confirmation. We will buy the stock, we will buy options, we will go long as heavy as possible, and then just capitalize on the continuation towards the upside. And last but not least, setup number 4 is on GOOGL. Alphabet, Google, I don't really care what you want to call it, but as long as you can trade it, you're perfectly fine. Here, this is almost looking like Microsoft. If you're not familiar with the situation we have on Microsoft, you can just check out I think it was the last video where I broke down setups. I also broke down Microsoft for you. But you can see also here we are having a simple triangle formation starting all the way back in 2015. We had multiple bullish rejections towards the upside. The last rejection was in 2023, beginning of 2023. And then, of course, we entered this insane bull market. We had earnings coming out recently on Alphabet and we saw a gap towards the downside. So there might be some short-term bearish pressure. But again, inside of the elite program, you're simply waiting for a retest of this lower support trend line. Then you can see we even do have market structure coming in as more confirmation. And then also going down on the smaller time frames, looking for bullish confirmation, because then we have a very high chance that we will see continuation towards the upside. And right there, if you just purchase the stock, you can see this is roughly 40 to 50% towards the upside. If you're playing this with options, you can easily make more than 100% on this one setup. As you can see, those were the 4 setups. It's pretty simple. I'm just looking at the chart, I'm looking at support and resistance, I'm looking at trend lines, and I'm looking at confirmation. Everything in more detail, you can see it all inside of the elite program. If you want to check it out, basictrading.net, lifetime access to the elite program, or if you want something free, you can go ahead and sign up for my free trading newsletter once a month. As always, if you have any questions regarding this episode, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I wish you very successful trading, and keep in mind, trading is nothing if you do not keep your long-term vision.